Hey guys, it is Dan, and our buddy Joe is
Hello.
back, and it is time for Dan's big movie.
Not the biggest, though.
Not the biggest. We decided that was probably Godfather 1 and 2.
Most likely, at least lengthwise.
Lengthwise. Well, no, actually,
and just title-wise.
I don't know. West Side Story and Fiddler might have been longer, if we're going to talk about that.
You got to do like Ben Hur and Cleopatra. That's the
That'll
biggest.
be the biggest double.
Biggest double.
All right, so off the rails already.
Sorry, yeah.
So Dan's big movie, we've decided now this is the queen of Dan's big movie. Because we did, every year I guess we'll have to do at least one. We did Jumpin' Jack Flash and Burglar late last year, which we had never seen either. You had seen, I think, Jumpin' Jack Flash.
Yes.
A long time ago. I had never seen either. Then we watched Rat Race.
Yeah.
Later on, which also includes Whoopi. And then, this has been talked about for a couple of years now, doing the Sister Act double.
But mostly because of Tim. Tim wanted it for
Our
some
buddy
reason.
Tim
Big fan.
suggested it a while ago. And we had talked about it because mob ties with Sister Act. And I had never seen the second one. So, curious.
Curious that you didn't.
I was curious about it, but it happened when we started talking about it. We realized, oh my God, Sister Act is having its 30th anniversary next year, which is this month. So it's time. I saw Sister Act original one time in theaters, so about 30 years ago. And this is another Joe household classic.
Yeah.
Apparently. So you've seen this one, many, many times over.
Oh, yeah.
And you had seen the second one
A couple times.
Okay.
Big Sister Act fan in my house.
I guess so.
Yeah.
And many houses are. I would say that this is probably, when you think Whoopi Goldberg and acting, now when you think it's probably The Associate, but most, I think the average person, it's got to be either this or Ghost. But this was two movies, and in terms of star power, I mean, she wasn't the star of Ghost.
No.
She's the star here. She's on the DVD box. I think this is the peak.
Actually, well, it might be the crowning achievement, and the Ghost obviously is like maybe the widest. But as far as pure Whoopi, I wouldn't have necessarily thought Sister Act because I didn't realize it was so beloved. But I guess
Very beloved. One of the biggest movies of that year.
When I think Whoopi Goldberg, my mind actually goes to Jumpin' Jack Flash.
Okay.
Because I feel like that's her almost like
I was thinking maybe
unfiltered.
Star Trek for you,
Well,
Guinan.
Guinan as well, but that's also Whoopi not doing her typical thing. It's very, very untraditional. But yes, Guinan is also arguably her biggest thing.
Yeah.
Like, she's got a couple big
Well, and
things.
we're talking film, of course, because she's been on The View for 15 years, so maybe people think of The View now.
Well, I think
in terms of acting,
I forget, we may have mentioned this in another video. Maybe it was the Burglar one, where Whoopi is such a strong personality. She's almost got that the Rock effect where it goes beyond just acting. It's just she's a pop culture.
Yeah, she's
force.
a beloved pop culture figure.
It almost goes beyond the role she has in film, and that kind of almost helps her stand out and kind of attract people to her. But you're right, as like a big starring role in something, I guess she didn't have as many big ones.
Be Sister Act.
Sister Act.
Well, the thing is, she did like 3 movies a year for about a decade.
That's a few I didn't see.
Most of them didn't
do great.
Hit. Yeah, I mean, like they did okay, but and I feel like this 90 to 92 or 3 kind of era was Whoopi's era.
And it's interesting that and I think we must have brought this up before, but yes, the fact that when I think of Whoopi, I think of Whoopi Goldberg. She's this big, huge name, but I don't really associate it with a lot of movies, despite that fame. And I guess before she did,
but that makes sense because you mentioned The Rock. When you think of The Rock, is there one movie that sticks out? Probably not.
Not really, no. Scorpion,
maybe Fast and Furious, maybe the Jumanji movies,
or
but he's done so many. It's like, is there one?
He's a pop culture icon.
Right,
people like him, but
so I think that's a good comparison.
They don't really care that much about too many specific movies.
Right.
No, and I guess that's actually a good example. But yeah, it's a surprise. And I guess before she went on The View, she had some issues legally where she kind of phased out after the 90s, right?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not sure if there were legal issues or not, but I think her star was just kind of diminishing.
It's weird because it wasn't like she had a big thing that plummeted, I don't think, right?
No. Not that I can really think of. I mean, certainly her political views are more left-leaning. She was friends with the Clintons and
Yeah.
blah blah blah.
But I didn't.
But I don't think that had anything to do with
her lack of a
think about. I'll tell you what probably did it. Look, Whoopi doesn't do a lot of really R-rated stuff.
Yeah.
And at the end of the 90s,
that's what it was all about.
Everything. Once American Pie came out, it was all about the R-rated comedies or the rom-coms. And no offense to Whoopi, but I don't think people see her as a sex symbol. So those roles are all going to Julia Roberts, Sandra Bullock.
It's weird,
and that kind of thing.
Because I don't know if she necessarily would have had to go on for something so crude, but I feel like, especially how things kind of were like the last 20 years, I think that you could have had a lot of comedies headlined by her that could have been sassier and maybe more R-rated. Because honestly, her movies are, I mean, they're somewhat wholesome, but she definitely pushes the envelope.
Well, yeah, I mean, and certainly the ones we watched before, I think, are both rated R.
Yeah, they were a bit more,
but that was before she was sort of that household name.
Yeah, that's true.
All right, well, diving into these specific movies,
7 minutes in.
We gotta build up the whoop. So, do you know who was originally supposed to be in this movie?
As the Whoopi character?
As the main, Sister Mary Clarence.
As Dolores Van Cartier.
As Dolores Van Cartier.
Had to take me a second.
Very good. And it's someone else who was in, this is a Disney property, it's somebody else who ended up in a Disney movie right around this time.
Who?
Bette Midler. From Hocus Pocus was going to be the star.
I can see that.
Which I could totally see. We know she can sing.
And that I could see having the same attitude.
And same sassy attitude. She actually turned it down. She said, I don't think my fans want to see me as a nun. Okay, fair enough. Personally, I am glad that it was turned down. I prefer Whoopi to Bette.
Yeah, I do too.
To be honest.
Yeah.
And we know she can sing. We know that. But I think a lot of things about this movie would have been different.
It works because it's Whoopi.
And once Bette Midler turned it down, it went through apparently a bunch of rewrites. And a bunch of different people, like half a dozen, ended up passing the script around. And here, give this scene a try, rewrite this. So much so that the guy who originally wrote the script kind of took his name off of it.
So mad.
And so it's written by Joseph Howard, but that's a pen name. It was really written by this guy, Paul Rudnick.
Wow.
But it got passed around so much and it resembled his movie so little, apparently
he said, no, I don't want to be associated with it.
I can't be a part of this.
So this one went through a lot of rewrites to make it work
for Whoopi specific, which I think it does.
Well,
I think we can agree.
Oh yeah, I think that some of the jokes definitely appeal more to her delivery than probably Bette Midler's.
Yeah, I mean, Bette Midler's okay.
I don't think she's got quite the punch though that Whoopi has.
I don't either.
With her delivery, whenever she has the one-liners.
Yeah, but it proves again what we had kind of said, and we mentioned this while we were watching it the other day, but also in the Burglar Jump Attack Flash video. Whoopi really is the only, the first, we should say, black woman that could headline a movie.
Yeah, it was interesting you pointed that out. Like, before this, a black woman bringing people to that many seats in a big movie,
never happened.
Don't know if that happened. And to be honest, too, I think, especially around this time, because of that, being black, being a woman, having a feminine perspective, but also a black woman's perspective, adds to those jokes and that sassiness and that particular type of humor that obviously Bette Midler couldn't deliver.
Right. I mean, they find her doing a Motown review in Vegas. And so that's sort of, part of the bit. I mean, Bette Midler could sing Motown and R&B, I guess, but
it wouldn't
maybe not as compellingly or convincingly. So I also found out a little bit about the singing, because
how much of it is dubbed?
I was unclear.
I couldn't tell if it was her sometimes.
Whoopi does do most of her own singing.
Okay.
And she admits that it came out a lot better than she was thinking at first.
Okay.
She calls herself a shower singer. You could sing in the shower, but in front of people, maybe not so much.
I'd say that I definitely am a shower singer.
So yeah,
I don't know if you
love a good shower singer. I think I'm a decent singer, but not to this level, of course.
Sure.
Not to headline a show. But Najimy, of course, was doing her own singing. But the mousy gal dubbed
Oh.
She didn't do any of her own singing, apparently.
Well, she did some good lip syncing.
That's what she said. She said once she lied when she was auditioning and said, "Yes,
totally
I can sing. I can do this."
They didn't fire her.
And they didn't fire her.
I thought she was too cute.
She was very cute. And so they ended up. So she said, she jokes that there's like a making of thing I saw, and she was joking that,
all right,
you know, I learned how to lip sync very well.
On that note, before we dive into the plot and other things, did she ever do anything else besides the Sister Act movies? That girl.
You know what? That's a good question.
That actress.
The fake Allison Hannigan.
Do we know anything?
Thought.
Would she be known for anything else besides these? Because I didn't see her in anything
I
else.
bet you. Here's what I think, maybe.
Uh-huh.
Oh, here it is. Her singing voice was Andrea Robinson, apparently. Wendy McKenna is her name. She was in Air Bud. We love that. She was in the two Sister Acts. A Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood. That was the Tom Hanks.
Oh.
I wonder if she played in that.
Must be mine.
But not many. I mean, she's only been in maybe 10 or 15 movies. Camp Nowhere.
Oh, any TV?
And then some TV. Again, not much. League of Their Own TV show. 8 episodes of Judging Amy. Oh, this is the one Tim was looking up when we were watching it. Yeah, I mean, a couple of episodes here or there of things we've heard of. NCIS 4 episodes. But yeah, I mean, for the most part, character actor, and then known for the Sister Act.
Wow.
Okay. And this is the first time I had ever seen Kathy and Jimmy.
Oh, yes.
Became an instant fan of hers because so funny.
Also Hocus Pocus.
And Hocus Pocus.
Must have been a similar.
So yeah, actually, well, and Disney, so they must have seen her in this and been like, "Oh, we got to have this lady in Hocus Pocus."
One of the witches.
And then the big surprise I think here is
that Joe likes it because it's mob.
Well, no, that was never a question.
Foregone conclusion.
And Harvey Keitel plays the mob boss. We'll get into that.
Not a surprise.
But Maggie Smith plays the head nun. And
she's always been great.
I had commented.
Always old.
She's always been great, yes, but she's right. She's always been. She looks
the same.
I just watched her in the new Downton Abbey movie last night, and she is in her, I think, early 80s now, but she looks like she was about 75 in this movie.
She's always looked
old. Always looked old, and God bless, when you're that old, you can play that same age for 35 years and nobody bats an eye.
She could be the sassy, strict old lady
forever.
For her whole career.
Yes.
Like she's McGonagall. And she's
McGonagall.
She made so much out of that, and she does it well.
Yeah. So good for her.
Yeah, Maggie Smith, I guess she's not underrated, mostly because of, between Harry Potter and Downton Abbey. People know she's good.
Yeah, people I think know she's good.
I feel like people may not appreciate her. She is very good.
I agree. We've seen her in a bunch of independent movies when we were doing Film Fanatics.
Was she the one Living in the Car?
Lady in the Van, she was in.
That was a good one.
She was in My Old Lady with Kevin Kline.
She was in that one too. Both of those?
Yeah, she was the old lady in both of them. Shocker.
Good
Shocker, I know.
But she pretty much just does the same thing every time. Oh, she was in Hook.
And Hook.
She was the old
right around this time.
Wendy. So, yeah, right around the same time.
Yeah.
So,
and that was Disney too, I believe.
Wow, big year for her.
Wow. I wonder if she's a Disney legend. She should be at this point.
Now.
But her career dates back to the 60s. She did a lot of movies, a lot of British TV shows.
That's right. She was actually in Clash of the Titans, the original. She did not look quite as old there.
No way.
81, I think.
Okay,
she actually
she looked a little younger.
75 in that.
She looked 62.
Actually, I think she did look more her age, but I think there was a 15 years where she just became
sort of old ladied up, and it works.
She holds it well.
She's one of the best parts of this movie.
Oh yeah.
All right, so let's talk
about the
14 minutes in. Let's talk about the plot. I mean, I think Sister Act, many people know.
Probably.
So we'll give maybe a quicker than usual, but yeah. What's her name?
Dolores Van Cartier.
Yeah.
Yes, she's a lounge singer in Reno, and she has a romantic relationship with this mobster, Harvey Keitel, and she's about to leave him, but she finds, that his guys are killing this guy that was talking to the cops. She
kind of walks in on the wrong time.
And she's like, oh, no problem. The Harvey Keitel thinks, she's loyal to me. The guy's like, I don't know. Go after her. She's like on the run, and she goes to the police, and they say, hey, Bill Nunn is the detective. He's
like, you like him a lot.
I'm going to put you... He's good. He's a good character actor. Spider-Man. He was Robertson in that. And he was also...
the Maguire Spider-Man?
Yes, the guy that works for J.K. Simmons that's like, you should be nice to Spider-Man.
Right.
He's there. He's also New Jack City. put your $5 ass down before I make change.
I'm going to tell
He's the guy that tells Wesley Snipes tells him to.
I got to watch that
down.
again. I haven't seen that in 30 years.
But he's in that.
Okay.
So Bill Nunn's a good character.
Yeah,
actor.
he shows up.
He's a good guy, consistent. And he basically says, Dolores, I'm going to put you in one place they'll never expect to find you. Puts her in a convent.
Cut to the convent.
And obviously
cut to her saying, no, no, no.
Big culture clash,
Yeah.
fish out of water. She's like, oh, I don't think I can fit in here. And Maggie Smith is the head nun there and is like, resistant, but still wants to help her. But she has to live like a nun. Difficulty
And
ensues.
pretend that she was a nun all along.
So all the
to
other
these
nuns,
nuns
don't know. So she's deep undercover
Right,
to keep
right.
the illusion aware. But she doesn't do very well. But she still makes friends with some of these nuns. And how does she find a way to kind of fit in before she's almost kicked out, using her musical career to kind of help the choir because it sucks.
Choir stinks
and
bad.
The church is really, kind of struggling.
Right.
And she kind of adds some, Motown flair to it.
Yeah, they do, instead of My God, they do My God.
Kind of maybe more of like a Baptist sort of thing, as opposed to
Yeah.
a more traditional one. But it actually gets people moving, excites
too much
people,
attention,
draws in people to the church, and actually starts to help them. So Maggie Smith feels a bit threatened by it, but, the pastor really loves it. So
Yeah.
things go well. But as you said, draws attention.
Too well.
And even though things are doing well, the Pope is coming in, so it's doing
Yes.
extremely well.
Oh, wait, by the way, wait, I have news about the Pope.
No, we'll talk about the
Okay,
next movie.
all right.
Let's talk about the next movie.
Okay.
Unless you think it's relevant in this movie.
Yeah, it's relevant. No.
But we have to talk about
I
the
have
next
something
movie.
to say about the actor playing the Pope.
He wasn't even... Okay, all right. Go ahead.
So we didn't even see his face.
We didn't see his
which
face.
is hilarious.
That's why I'm like, what do you mean?
But
do you mean?
the guy they got to play him is a Pope impersonator
What
that
the-
professionally at the time
What?
was going around doing, Pope whatever things. You know how you hire like lookalikes
Like
or whatever.
Elvis?
Like an Elvis.
A Pope impersonator?
Apparently, that's how they found this guy.
I didn't know that was a thing.
I didn't either.
Go around
But-
impersonating the Pope.
Yeah, he said he was walking down the street one day and saw a magazine cover with the Pope's picture on it and was like, oh my God.
I'll be a Pope.
I look a lot. He was like, I guess he'd never seen him before or whatever. And he was like, I look a lot like that dude.
What?
I wonder if this could be a career.
People will pay me to just pretend to be the Pope.
Sure enough, it was. So, but it was weird that they'd never even showed his face.
That is weird.
Yeah.
I guess they wanted to keep it a little more mysterious.
Yeah, I guess so.
But anyway, it draws too much attention.
Yes.
She gets on the run. She gets kidnapped. And really, she's about to be killed. But the nuns love her so much, they actually go to Reno to kind of save her.
Yes.
And they blend in, and there's this big chase scene. And eventually, though, the day is saved. And they get the bad guy, and she goes in and saves the church. And she becomes a national
nut shots.
sensation.
Does some nut shots on him.
Does some nut shots
to get out of the.
To get out of there. A lot of gags, a lot of nunnery gags.
Yes. And as you pointed out, flying nuns.
They're flying nuns. A lot of references to Sound of Music about how people are bees.
Yes.
They're so great.
Well,
but, double-edged
I had
comments.
kept. Now, of course, I love Sound of Music. We know this. So yes, I kept pointing out like
The
that. This is
classic nun
clearly
bits.
like
Oh my!
aping a little bit from the Sound of Music.
But no,
so
but
I
it's still
love
quite
that.
different. It's still quite
very, very
it's
different.
quite
Yeah, I'm not saying it's a ripoff or anything,
But like, how many big nun movies are there?
only a few.
Only a handful.
Yeah,
and this
only
is
a
one
few.
of them.
This is one. All right, so tell me why, since this was
this question.
a hit in the jailhouse, what was it about this movie? Now, obviously, Mob.
Well, before
We
Mom,
know
I
that,
was still
but-
pretty young when I watched
Okay,
it.
maybe this is what brought your
Actually,
foray into the Mob.
This is probably one of the first movies I watched that had Mob in it.
Yeah, I mean, how many Mob movies are PG?
Not many.
Not many, which we'll get into the PG of it all.
Honestly,
but-
I think it was just good humor. I think that my mom was always a big Whoopi Goldberg fan.
Okay.
I think from a feminist perspective, I think she always liked her. And
Yeah.
that's one of the reasons why I think she liked The Associate Nettie, because it was like, a woman
Okay.
kind of trying to take the reins and
Yeah.
really do well. Also a minority, I think.
I'm saying every year, I think we got to put a Whoopi
Well,
into the Dan's big movie.
I think we thought she was inspirational and quite frankly funny. She could just always get a laugh because she would just, in the situations in these films, she would just kind of say things the way they are, and that prototype there for that. But also just I think the camaraderie, I think, with the nuns is good. It's very wholesome. It's nice. It's one of those very heartwarming movies.
Yeah.
We like the music.
Yeah, I mean the soundtrack, the great '60s Motown soundtrack, and then the nun singing.
Yeah, and maybe on some
Part.
level, just the spiritual component to it was kind of fun. Like that, there was almost like a little bit of that there, and some of the humor about that was good.
Yeah.
As well, the clashing between very different ideas and ways of living was funny.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
and maybe the fact that also there were some good stakes. Like even at a young age, I did like the crime stuff. I did like the detective stuff. So that adds a little bit of a bite to the movie too. So yeah, I'd just say mostly we just really liked Whoopi, and we liked the music a lot. The music, the humor, and the Whoopi
certainly was a big factor in the second movie.
Bigger
and its success, I would say.
Yes. But I mean
But this was the template for that.
Yeah.
Of course. And then it became a Broadway musical.
Did it?
I guess based on the first movie alone.
I would hope.
But yeah,
Spoilers.
It became a Broadway musical. And I should say this before we get too far in. There is apparently a 3 coming on Disney Plus.
Which Maggie Smith can still be in.
Maggie Smith can still be in it. I assume Whoopi's in it. I haven't read otherwise.
Better be.
If she's not. But listen, they keep doing this with their
remakes.
Disney, now that Disney Plus exists, they're like, what old properties of ours and Fox can we just milk till they're dead? But whatever. If they have it without Whoopi, I think that's a mistake.
Well, the question
then is... Jimmy is still with us, and she's going to be in the new Hocus Pocus, so obviously Disney's still working with her.
Great.
So
the other actress is still working.
Yeah, she's still doing stuff.
I bet the old lady that was a Hunchback's probably not
around. Old lady's probably dead.
She's probably not around. But she was funny, too. I like her. Whatever her name was.
Bill Nunn they should bring back, too.
I hope he's still working.
I wanted... Mary Wicks, by the way, is Sister Mary Lazarus. She's got to be dead, right?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, she died in 95. She died shortly after Sister Act 2, then.
Wow.
All right,
wait, so that means they must have recorded her stuff for Hunchback, because Hunchback came in 96.
Well, yeah, it does take them a couple of years back in the day before computers.
That might have been one of her last...
That might have been one of her last movies,
wow.
then. Yeah, isn't that interesting?
Actually, look it up quick. That's cool. I bet that's... I always liked her.
She was acting since the 30s, Joe.
I think she had some experience.
My God. Oh, that's TV. Life with Louie was the last TV thing she did.
Oh, Life with Louie. That's a fun show. Also voice work, probably, because it was that cartoon.
Yeah, it was that cartoon.
I like
all the movies. Hunchback was the last thing she did.
I knew it.
She was the aunt. She did the last 4 things she did. Sister Act 2, Little Women, the Winona Ryder version, and then Hunchback, posthumous release.
What a run.
Actually, yeah.
Pretty good.
And then right before that, Postcards from the Edge, the Carrie Fisher movie that got a lot of Oscar love.
I never seen that. I heard it was good.
I've heard it was good too, yeah. But yeah, she was acting ever since the early 40s, 1942. She did 4, 5, 6, 7 movies.
Mary Lazarus.
Jeez.
So
yeah, Mary Wicks was her name.
Well, she was great. I liked her too.
But yeah, Bill Nunn is still with us now. I
like that guy.
That there was going to be some romance.
Oh, you know what? That's also...
Let's talk about that for a second.
I always complain about this. Sometimes I think that you can have a movie with a good story, and
there doesn't have to be a romance.
A male lead, a female lead, or whatever, and they don't have to have a romance to have a good relationship. You don't have to have a forced romance in every single darn movie.
But I don't know if it would have been forced.
You actually wanted it this time.
I wanted it this time.
No, you didn't.
I did, actually.
Come on.
Because look,
it's refreshing that there isn't
Bill Nunn is so likable.
Yes.
You know this. He obviously cares a great deal about her.
Because he's a good person. He doesn't have to do something else.
All right. Well, look, obviously it didn't matter.
What the shipping here, the Bill Nunn.
I know. I actually am a little bit. I was shocked, but you know what? It's fine.
To be fair, though, you're right. No, that would have been fine. It wouldn't have been the worst.
Because he's not in the second one, and he doesn't need to be because there's no connection there. Or whatever,
but okay, as far as his character goes, okay, and maybe we'll talk a little more about the movie. He's very likable.
Yeah,
I think one of the in a movie of great characters, he's still pretty up there. Is he a little too confident though, telling the bad guys, "Oh well, you better watch out"?
Yes, he's too cocky.
I wouldn't tell you.
He's too cocky.
You got to tell her where she is to his friends. Oh well, I wouldn't tell you if you were the Pope.
And then they did the Pope bit later.
So questionable.
A
little too overconfident.
Maybe too overconfident.
But then again, it was her that actually did it, not him.
But as soon as she went on TV,
he was like, "I'm going to kill her myself."
And he called her, or he came to visit her.
Yes.
And he was like, "What are you doing?" da 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 da. And then she invites him to go see the Pope,
and he still comes.
So
you just like the guy.
I thought it could have been because look, clearly she has a history of being with bad men.
Yeah.
She's with these mob boss.
Yeah.
So. I don't know. I wanted better for her, maybe.
I think she clearly turns out fine by the end.
Yeah, I mean, look, it's not necessary, but for all the times they do that forced romance,
you actually thought this would have been
I could have used it. I would have been fine with it.
All right. Well,
let's talk about the tone of the movie.
A tone
because there's jokes.
Yeah.
And then there's murdering. And then it's PG. And there's a lot of chases and death. Close to death experiences, near death.
I think that PG-13 would have probably been more suitable.
Yeah.
With some of the jokes being suggestive. And honestly, I know we don't technically see anything, but in a PG-13 movie now, like, a guy is threatened, clearly, begging for his life, and his brains are blown away. They shoot a man in the head.
Yeah.
It's not played for laughs.
No.
And the woman's on the run for her life.
Right.
It's fairly serious.
I think if you change nothing about this movie, don't even add in any curses, nothing, I think this would easily be PG-13 now.
Right?
Yeah, but this was
that's
different era. We've talked about
back then,
they
right?
did have PG-13, but what's interesting is they still didn't quite know how to use it. You could still get away with one F-bomb in a PG up until I think the late 80s.
Oh, wow.
Because Beetlejuice has one, that's 87 or 88 maybe.
Huh.
I think Big has one, that's 88. So, yeah, they used it more for like extra cursing or extra violence, but like to me this is pretty violent.
I think so.
But they utilize the G rating a lot more. Now we're back to sort of what we had before PG-13, which is 3 ratings. We'll that's another video. We already made the MPAA rant video, but yeah. So this to me as a PG movie is
pushing it,
extreme pushing it. Yes.
Okay. Well, I agree on that. As far as the tone goes,
because I think the second one, and we'll talk about the second one. That's very much more PG.
Yes.
I feel like watered down.
That feels like an actual PG movie.
Yes.
No, this is PG-13. Little blood, a few F-bombs could be an R. Like, that's the weird thing. Is that this is a PG movie that is not that far from an R. It's really so weird.
It's really not.
So weird, which is maybe one reason why I liked it so much.
And it starts out that way. The first, other than her singing, the first thing we really see is
murder.
The murder and her running
and talking to the cops.
So like
we don't get till 15 minutes.
It's a good bit till we get the jokes.
Then they start coming and they're funny.
Right? Yeah. I mean, they come fast and furiously at that point.
Well, a lot
we see the nuns.
We know that a lot of comedies back then and today can have obviously serious moments. We talked about this.
Well, the Full Monty we just did last month, and that was now, of course, that was R, but we had a big discussion about the tone of that movie.
I think the tone of this movie is mostly pretty consistent, but I wish that it's like in the beginning they start off serious, and then later, as the bad guys are going after her specifically, the soundtrack gets really goofy.
Yes. Like when they're doing like running in Reno, and when they capture her on the street and put her in the back.
And then there's the car chase. Like
it's like
silly.
This. Dun, 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 dun. Like it's like either Keystone Cops or like Miami Vice type soundtrack.
But that's not the whole time. You see, whenever they cut back to the police officer talking, it's still serious. It's a much more serious.
So you could say there's a little bit of a tonal issue here for sure.
It's like they thought the whole movie could be goofy, except the beginning, and I don't know. It's not really that bad. It's just those chase scenes that are like, okay, all right. Well, I think I'm sort of okay with it, with the nuns in Reno when they're all doing the gags to throw them off the chase. Yeah. That's a bit more fun. But I don't know.
Like when they catch her and take her in the car, that could have been a little seems more to be, the soundtrack is not sort of giving us the intensity that the scene needs. I think.
Yeah, maybe they could have switched it there. Just a little bit of different placement with some of the tracks that might have fixed some of the tone.
But
for the most part, I think it's pretty good.
I think it's a very good movie.
Yeah.
I wonder if part of that was...
PG?
Well, PG, of course. But I wonder if part of that was that they didn't know if they trusted Whoopi to do a whole fall-down comedy. Because she had done some funny moments in movies, but even like Jumpin' Jack Flash had some really intense scenes. Burglar had some intense scenes. Ghost, she is kind of the comic relief mostly, but her life is also threatening. Ghost, everybody's
actually,
always threatening her life.
In retrospect, she is comical sometimes, but those movies really weren't full-on comedies.
No, Jumpin' Jack Flash specifically was pretty dark.
And Burglar got really dark at the end.
Burglar got dark as well.
So they weren't...
So I wonder if maybe the studio was like...
Could she handle...
Can she run a whole... Because if I'm remembering this correctly, I think her stand-up act was not very family-friendly. So maybe they were like, well, look, these movies where she's more action-oriented did pretty well. maybe let's sort of mix it in, which is something that maybe Bette Midler wouldn't have been as great at.
Actually, her physical comedy is pretty good.
And her physical comedy is great.
I know, like the dress bit from Jumpin' Jack.
That was one of my favorite parts of the movie. Yeah, very funny and sexy. She could have maybe been a sex symbol.
I actually don't think she's a bad looking woman. I feel like even in Sister Act, when she had the original lounge singer actor, I'm like, I don't know, they could have gone the sex symbol route if they wanted to.
See, now you're wishing for the romance too.
I didn't say that. I'm just saying that Whoopi never seemed like she really was trying to force her way into that though.
Yeah,
she didn't really do many romances.
Well, think about it though. What, especially in that era where rom-coms were like really taking off.
Yeah.
Where are there black people in any of them? I can't think of any.
Only that one movie.
Poetic Justice, maybe with Janet Jackson and Tupac.
Preacher's Wife, Will Smith.
Preacher's Wife, okay.
Kind of one.
Not Will Smith. What is it? Denzel.
Denzel.
Denzel and Whitney.
Oh.
Well, and I guess okay. You know what? I stand corrected. Bodyguard is a romance. Whitney Houston's in that.
Not a rom-com though.
No, it's not a rom-com. That's true.
Bring in the Bodyguard.
I love the Bodyguard. That was mixed too because Kevin Costner.
It's been so long since I saw that movie. Did he actually love her in that movie?
Oh, yeah.
What about the guy that was stalking her? Also
he thought he loved her, I guess. Is he the hero? He's
the
hero
actually,
of the movie.
from his perspective, he's the
hero. All right.
Kevin Costner's
so you're right. I stand corrected. Whitney Houston did have a couple of... Whoopi Houston had a couple of romance movies. But really, I mean, when you think of the classic rom-coms, it's Meg Ryan, Julia Roberts, Sandy B. Maybe Whoopi didn't feel like she could
pull it off,
measure up, or pull it off,
or to do that. There's a market for it. Maybe they
I don't know.
Think they could trust it.
But I don't know.
She was so big for a while. I'm surprised they didn't try it once or twice.
Yeah.
Her and Bill Pullman.
Well, I know her and Ted Danson actually they were dating at the time, and they did a movie called Made in America.
Okay.
And Will Smith actually was in that. He played their kid.
Okay.
Or her kid or something.
Wait, how old was he?
Like Fresh Prince era. He was like 18.
Oh wow.
He might have been playing younger, but he was probably 18 or 19. Okay, I can't remember if that was it was a comedy. I can't remember if it was a rom-com though. I'd have to watch it again. I saw it 30 years ago again. But anyway, point being, if she did them, we obviously can barely even think of them. So we obviously didn't hit.
We named most of her big movies.
Yeah. So anyway. We got to move on to the second one, so we should grade this and look at the Rotten and the Ebert. Any other thoughts though before we do that?
No,
I think we've said it all.
No,
Smith is old. Jimmy is funny.
Was Keitel good as the gangster? Or was he a little subdued? I think?
It wasn't my favorite of his.
He was like okay, right?
And when I think of a good gangster, it's Leota or nothing. We all know it. Ray Liotta, especially at this time.
What about
right after Goodfellas?
What about his guys, his goons? Were they better?
I wouldn't say they were better. I mean, listen,
more consistent.
The mob people are written so generically in this movie
that
it's hard for me to even say like
they're barely characters, really.
Barely characters.
Oh well, how about the gag though that they won't kill her because she's
that was funny.
That they're a little religious.
That was pretty funny.
Line they won't
and they
cross.
can't be sure that she didn't actually convert to being a nun.
It's like, how do we know she didn't get in there?
That was pretty funny.
That was a good gag.
I can't say it gave them personality, but it was a funny gag. Yeah. Yes. Harvey Keitel. I mean, you're the mob guy. Don't you think it was not the best mob performance you've seen?
He's given much better performances.
Yeah,
Even Mickey Blue Eyes, they give better performances.
There you go. All right. So for you, I think it's going to be higher than me.
You think?
I think it's definitely got a few flaws.
I'd say so.
But I can see why this is a beloved movie.
Beloved.
I could see why Whoopi, number one in our hearts of the early 90s. I'm going to give the original Sister Act a B+.
Well, this may surprise you, but I'm the same.
Oh, okay. I thought maybe a A- at lowest for you.
No, I mean, it's a good movie.
It's got a few flaws.
But watching it again, the script has some issues because, the movie literally wouldn't happen or have some of the plot beats happen if she just didn't make really dumb decisions. Like when she just goes out to the bar as a nun. That made no sense when she's on TV.
She keeps messing up.
Some of those were
your
bad.
Your life is at risk.
The cop being like, "Oh, you could look anywhere but a church, eh?" The villains were fun, but they're a little under.
I hated the cop villains. They were stupid.
Though the cop villain, we don't know anything about it. He was just corrupt because.
You're right.
And the moment the guy,
Joe, don't talk me down for my B+.
I'm just saying.
I think
the
B+
guy,
is fine for this movie.
Oh, he left the the reports on your desk. He said you found later. Immediately assumes he's the bad guy. Goes and punches him in the face.
Okay, but he already had suspicion
that there was a leak.
He already knew suspicions.
But couldn't somebody make a mistake in the office?
Yes.
Like, just automatically.
I know, he goes and beats him
It was a good
right
dramatic
away.
scene.
Yeah.
But it was pushing it a little bit.
All right, I think this tomato meter is about right.
Okay.
74% for the critics.
Not certified.
I will say the audience is a bit low. Oh, I think it has to have a certain number to be certified.
Okay.
Of reviews.
I don't know how that works.
Yeah, so a lot of the older movies are not certified.
Okay.
Because there's only 27 reviews here, but 65% on the audience. I think that's a little low. I thought this movie was a little more beloved than that.
I bet because the subject matter might be a little controversial and offensive for some people.
Could be because of the Catholicism.
I think that might be part of it.
All right, here's a positive one. Whoopi is aware of the goofy premise, refusing to take the situation with any seriousness, even though the rest of the cast attempts a level of sincerity. I'm not sure that's a positive, but they say that is. Sister Act outrage is fun. Laughs keep coming. Okay, here's a couple of negatives here. The film trundles along, full of holy pokey mayhem and one-liners. What?
Can you see that again?
Holy pokey. I think he meant to say hokey pokey, but because it's holy, they're Catholic. He's doing bits.
He's right there at one-liners.
The movie's funnier than him.
They're pretty good one-liners, though.
I like a lot of the one-liners
and full
in this movie.
jokes and dialogue.
Here you go. This is you. Nothing like a heartwarming Disney comedy with a body count to raise your spirits.
But I'd give it a positive.
But it's a positive.
He gave it a negative.
Here's a 1 out of 5. It doesn't have a description. 2 out of 5. That's low.
These aren't very wordy.
Terribly unfunny musical comedy with nails on blackboard performances. No way. Although, interesting they say nails on blackboard because that leads into Sister Act 2. Right?
You mean Dangerous
She
Minds?
did that.
I mean Stand By Me.
All right. We'll get to it.
Lean on Me.
All right. Anyway, I think that's a little low. What do you think the Ebert is for the original Sister Act? Knowing Ebert, I bet he likes the second one more.
Oh, come on.
He always does that to us.
I never can predict
We
Ebert,
did Charlie's Angels. He liked the second one more.
I know he likes Whoopi, but he'll probably think this is hacky.
I'm going to say
have to think it's
2.
2 stars. 2.5.
Maybe I was going to say maybe 2.5, but
2.5. Cannot be
2.5.
Yeah, 2.5.
There it is.
2.5 Eberts.
Yep, 2.5 Eberts. Promising idea. Okay.
He doesn't like something. What doesn't he like?
He has no visual style at all. Every shot is textbook obvious approach.
It is pretty flat cinematography.
Yeah, I guess.
He's right about that.
To a degree that the film seems directed on automatic pilot. But the actors are ready to create life, blah, blah, blah. The rest of the movie is dreary. The Reno stuff is played pretty straight, except for the last scene where they're trying to
at
the actual casino.
Yeah, that was kind of fun.
Goldberg scenes are funny.
Which is most
Mary Wicks has great one-liners. Okay. 2.5, I think, could be a little low, but you know what?
Give it a 3.
Ebert's stuffy, so it's fine.
But Siskel liked it more. I never know.
Siskel usually likes the family movies more. All right, so now we get to the second one. Back in the Habit, because it's a pun.
And they actually, and I like the fact
they do it. They explain the pun in the movie.
They explain the reasoning for why the film exists in the plot of the movie. It's pretty great.
Now, I knew this was a not beloved movie,
but
cult classic. Apparently in many gay circles, I think because of the Lauryn Hill connection. And look, Whoopi's always been vocally supportive of the LGBTQ community, so it makes sense. But people in the gay community seem to love this movie.
I did hear that it was a cult classic.
Yeah.
And cult classics, a lot of times are not flawless movies, but they're loved for very specific reasons.
Right.
Which is fine. I love plenty of cult classics.
Yeah, more than most.
Yeah, I love a good cult classic movie. But I don't know if this is necessarily my cult classic type of movie.
Yeah.
Usually they have stylistically something more interesting.
Give us the rundown. We've already mentioned a couple of things about it.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
But, okay, why does she become a nun again? She's now doing, because of the famous music from the... Yeah, she was on all the...
Pope came to visit them.
Pope came to visit. She's doing all the covers of the magazines. So she's now headlining a show in Vegas.
Based on her experience.
Based on her life.
Yeah. And she's so successful that her friends, the nuns from the parish, come to visit her and say, we need your help because our school is failing and we need to help, have somebody teach the music program, and we know no one else that can do it. You're the best one we know, the most skilled to do this.
Yes.
Even though you're not a teacher.
She's not a teacher, but
you
she
helped
turned around
the choir
from pure garbage to huge success.
So maybe we'll literally just ask you because
Right.
you know
the kids don't want to pay attention.
We're somebody you know. Maybe it's sure, okay. So a little bit of a stretch, maybe, but fine. She was successful at one thing,
Sure,
but then she also has to dress up as a nun as well,
Yes.
and sort of go undercover again.
because no one at the school is allowed to know because they can only have nuns teaching them.
And the people that run the friar and the stuffy guy that runs it can't know because that would be bad form. And this is where the movie falls apart immediately.
We'll talk about that.
Like, Dan was hating on it within the first 5 minutes.
Yeah, we'll talk about that.
I'm just going to spoil something. I know we haven't done the whole plot. I'm going to hold my tongue.
Okay.
Should
Lauren Hill. No, keep doing the plot. Lauren Hill is one of the people. And
look, I don't have to do the plot. I don't have to do the plot
because
it's Lean on
rowdy.
Me.
It's Lean on Me. It's Stand and Deliver.
Stand and Deliver. It is all those movies. It is literally the inspirational teacher with the urban kids. But Whoopi, it is.
But Whoopi.
That's the plot. I don't even need to say anything else.
Whoopi, though, you can't say about this white savior, like Dangerous Minds. That's the big white savior came in and saved the day.
It was nice that she's not a
Whoopi's
white.
black.
Yes.
She can relate.
That was a good move.
Yeah,
that's fine. And the movie is.
Of course, if the first one was Bette Midler, then. The
sequel might have had some issues.
The sequel would be Bette Midler again.
They might have placement again in a different setting, probably.
Yeah.
Would it have been as urban? I don't know.
Probably not.
But seriously, she helped save this class with the music teaching, and they eventually enter a competition and they win because they're great.
Because Disney
and they get enough funding to save the school because it's losing money, even though their parish should be the most successful. Anyway, the point is the plot of this movie is terrible.
Okay,
it's weak.
So
it is. Dan, all right. I want to
say what I said when we were watching it over and over and over again.
You did say it
is that it doesn't make any sense. Okay, first of all, here's one. The main thing that doesn't make sense.
Just one.
I think the main thing, because you put this into the mix. No movie. Okay, and it is. I find it purely impossible,
extremely unlikely,
that the people that are in charge of the school, the people running the school, don't know the story behind the Sister Mary Clarence bit and how the Pope came there. And our buddy Tim came and watched it with us,
tried to defend
and
it
he
a
was
little.
like, you know what? Maybe they don't pay attention to the news. Okay, that's fine, but this is their parish.
And even if it was like
the Pope came to their parish because of this woman.
Town.
Like
in the Catholic community, that would
it just doesn't ring true to me or to be believable in the least.
And what also is iffy is they clearly were able to have this woman save the church in one regard. They wouldn't just say, "Hey, can she help out and teach in our school?" Like, just for this once since we're closing down anyway.
Yeah, they said no.
I think that would have been more believable than having to pretend, because it's not even to hide her with surgery or a mask. She can clearly see who she is.
Right.
And someone would have become this.
So the villain here.
Oh, the villain is the worst.
When they are in the singing competition and he finds out that she's not a real nun, he tries to put a stop to the whole thing. X, Y, and Z.
What's his motivation, man? What's his motivation?
Do you not want to keep the school open for these children? Like, he obviously doesn't care. He's supposed to be, evil rich man.
His whole thing is literally, if we close down, I can retire early.
That was his bit.
That's so weak.
Well, it's very weak. But that's his only thing. That's all he has.
He's as weak as the villains were in the first movie. They're mobsters that don't want to go to jail. Like, it makes more sense.
They have motivation.
This guy
doesn't make any sense.
Him trying to destroy the school makes no sense.
Right. And then that one guy who was like real gruff, and then by the end he was like fine with everything. He really wavered, but he hated her from the start, whether she was a nun or not.
Yeah.
And then he finds out she's not, and then all of a sudden he's like, "Oh, but the songs are good, so it's okay."
So therefore, it's okay. Weak turn of character.
Weak turn of character there.
He's the good one.
And he's the good one, and no Bill Nunn.
Well, there's no reason.
Keitel.
There's no stakes. The stakes are losing the school, I guess.
We get Lauryn Hill. There's some okay hip hop numbers here.
Sure,
there's some okay music. I prefer the music of the first one, to be completely honest.
The kids can sing, though.
Yeah, the kids can sing. They got good ones there.
They got standard characters in each in the class. Pretty basic.
Yeah, very basic. They're not listening. She puts her nails on the chalkboard.
Yeah.
The Jimmy is back. And the other one is back. The one
little one.
from the little mousy one.
And they're regulated to doing less.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh,
And Maggie Smith is back.
And Lazarus is back. Sister
Mary Lazarus.
So everybody
Mary
came,
Wicks is back.
and the lady with the hearing.
Yes.
Alma.
The Alma, the organist.
She still has the bits.
Yeah.
But
and Whoopi is still
Whoopi.
Mildly amusing though.
She has some good bits.
She has some good bits, but this is not
the story.
I think the humor's better in the first one. Everything is watered down in this version. So this to me, and we mentioned this in the first review, this to me is the true PG of the two. Mm-hmm. This is very safe. We have what's her face, who's on Abbott Elementary now, playing Lauryn Hill's mother, mm-hmm. and she's like this no nonsense. My daughter's not going to sing. Music killed your father. Didn't kill her father, but he tried to make music for years, and he died penniless because of it.
Don't follow your dreams.
Left us with nothing.
But the way she phrases, basically, music is the worst thing
music
ever.
killed your dad. Cheryl Lee Ralph is the actress, and so like
weak.
That was weak.
It could have been good. Like Lauryn Hill's acting was alright.
Just let your daughter sing. What is the
Just go to a concert. It's one thing.
She clearly has no other outlets. Like everybody in this school is going to basically be either doing drugs in the street or selling drugs or shooting people up. Like so let her sing. See what happens. Give her a positive outlet.
Community.
I didn't quite understand her motivation.
Also weak.
Underwritten. So this reminded me a lot, and I said it while we watched it. The Princess Diaries double that we did. Also Disney. From about a decade later. The second Princess Diaries movie.
Well, that's a cult classic.
It should be a cult classic for you. It makes no sense in many parts.
Movie.
It's bizarre.
All over the place.
It's weird.
But kind of awesome.
And again, a lot of the motivation doesn't make sense. Like a lot of the plot doesn't connect.
Oh yeah, the bad guys and what they wanted.
Yeah.
All the princesses together.
She had to be the princess again before whatever. I forget.
Yeah, I remember
she had to be married. Chris Pine was in it.
The politics of it didn't make sense.
Yeah, like she had to be married by a certain day. It was like so stupid. So anyway, that is like this. Like the first movie is pretty solid. Some jokes, some Julie Andrews, and this one some Whoopi. Nuns. They're both nuns. Julie Andrews, Sound of Music. We got it.
Yeah. I got it.
But the second one is such a step down.
Big step down.
So, let's talk about a couple of positives.
Sure.
Whoopi was kind of funny.
She had some good lines, good bits.
You mentioned, Lauryn Hill was good actress.
The standard
the singing is fine.
The standard plot, if it wasn't forced to be Sister Act, of like saving the kids and helping them, is okay.
I don't think they should have won at the end.
That would have been better.
I think they should have figured out a different way to save the school through the singing, though. Mm-hmm. Maybe the Pope heard about it again. Record contract or something. The fact that these idiots had never heard of the Pope visiting their parish, it just doesn't make any sense.
And even if it was not the same one, it was the same city. It's like it's so weird.
All right, look, you didn't get to rant that much. Let's hear it. That was the rant.
That was it. I was just thinking in terms of plot convenience to try and get her back in the Sister Act outfit and try to do that whole motif
to get her back in the habit
is literally one of the weakest things I ever thought. Like I was thinking about it the other day. Like no, really, it is because I was thinking about how sometimes there might be thought put into something, even if it was a bad thought. There's a thinking process. There was none. It's literally they'll ask her to come back.
Yeah, there's just no reason.
There was no creativity in coming up with a scenario. And you mentioned something that you haven't brought up yet. In terms of cash grab sequels, this might be one of the most.
This is one for sure.
There was they pumped it out like a year later, and it was rushed. It wasn't.
And the proof was in the box office, because that first one was one of the biggest hits of the year. I think #1 comedy probably of the year. Mm-hmm. This one was made for $125 million and made 38. And I don't know if that's worldwide or U.S., but still, either way, you ain't making your money back on it. So they released this like a year and a half, like 17, 18 months after the first one. That's quick.
Well, all right. As far as other positives, though, I think Whoopi is good. I think the plot is fine. Some of the kids
are okay. The plot
is
not fine. We know this.
No, the plot is bad. The plot is really bad, but the story conceit that they're trying to do, which Dangerous Minds would do better.
Save the school,
underprivileged kids. It's fine what they're trying to do, but ironically, if they weren't shoving Sister Act into it and Whoopi was just going in there, it would probably have been a better movie.
Yeah, it would have been a little more believable, certainly.
Give her a reason to be connected to the kids.
Right,
You know, it
right.
just automatically better if it wasn't Sister Act.
Yeah,
Ironically,
her
Sister Act
having
brings
to
it
be in
down.
the habit.
It brings it down a lot.
Yeah.
And it's like, and then
I
it's
agree.
and really, we get further and further away from that being a plot point because Lauryn Hill it becomes her movie.
Right.
And her issue, like halfway through, we like pan away from Whoopi for good chunks of it towards the end.
Whoopi's not in a good
It almost
chunk
becomes
of it.
like another movie.
Right.
Oh, how did you feel about the Friars having to do their bit where they get into the car?
Oh my God, the car
have
bit.
Do the car bit to go after him? We have all the visual gags and
Yeah, it
the
was all right.
sausage and.
That was okay, I guess.
But yeah, it was fine. But
It was
also,
fine.
I feel like we're stretching though a little bit. One time.
And I wanted more into Jimmy.
I should say more positives.
Yeah, more positives.
You're right.
There's not a ton to say, really.
No, that was
big decline.
No, that was about it.
Maggie Smith.
Yes.
We
Dan,
found
yes.
out
The
she was
people-
in it.
Yes,
again.
the people
she
that
didn't retire.
Yes.
All right.
She didn't give up because she's going to give up. This is the thing. Yes, they got all the people back to be in a movie
Yeah.
they don't need to be in,
I
and
know.
they do good bits for like
I
5
know.
minutes, and then they're gone.
Yeah.
Like,
I'm very curious to what the rotten is because I know it can't be good. But let's us grade it first, as we do. I will go first. I went first on the original.
yeah.
Dude.
Oh wait,
this
no,
is a
wait.
bad movie.
Wait.
Okay.
Before you say bad movie,
Ooh.
and I'm saying bad movie too. I hated it.
You're gonna
actually.
say good movie.
But we did talk about this cult classic because of homosexual stuff. Briefly
Yes.
mention it. That's a positive.
Oh,
that seems positive, right?
Yeah.
With the friend,
Yes.
that's a positive.
There are two friends, and I
It's
have to imagine this is partially why
Lauryn Hill and her friend.
Lauryn Hill and her friend. And it is
It's a moment.
clear to me. It was clearly signaling lesbianism, curiosity at least.
Well,
You know,
interesting though.
Tell me.
Are you reading into that? Because I think Tim didn't think so.
Tim didn't think so.
I think you could see it as not. It might not be the most blatantly advertised.
No, but I think in 1993 in a Disney movie, that's more than you could expect for any sort of representation.
and also a
And then-
minority too.
Minority as well.
Yeah.
But I thought there was another moment even too. I forget now, but yes, the moment where they're at the
talking at the
piano,
piano, yeah.
that is to me clearly there's more going on here than the surface. But look, it's
Okay.
Disney. It's 1993. You can't do it.
Okay.
So maybe that
Somebody
is
picked
part
up
of the
on it.
reason
Okay.
that this is beloved by the community. I don't
Okay.
know.
Well, that was one thing might be a
You're
positive.
right.
So, but yes, bad movie. I still agree.
Yeah, and that scene was fine. I mean, I didn't have
was-
an issue with that scene.
There are a lot of little scenes that are fine.
Yes, but they don't add up to a
Anything.
movie. Unfortunately.
Oh man.
I wish there was motivation.
Maybe
for
I'm
the
being too
characters.
kind to it. I mean, you're great. I don't even know what it's going to be now. It's pretty bad. Dude, the plot was thin. The
I know.
motivation of the villains were thin.
Listen, this is a
Bad movie.
watchable movie, but it is absolutely not a good movie,
Mhm.
and it's a big old step down from the original. I'll give it the benefit of the doubt, I guess.
Oh, wow.
With a C minus.
Wow. Same.
That's my benefit of the doubt grade.
Same.
Okay.
I talked myself up.
Yeah, I've talked myself up as well.
Because I mean, it's like
Whoopi gave a good performance.
Whoopi's
Lauren
good.
Hill's given a good
but,
performance.
dude, the writing is
it's
so
bad.
Like it's
Yeah.
amazingly bad.
But you know what? I think we gave the second Princess Diaries movies like a C plus or a C. This is worse than that,
oh yeah, no,
but not as bad as some of the Disneys we've seen.
yeah, sure.
So I think C minus is okay, but I can see why it failed at the box office.
It was very weak.
So let's see. If this is higher than like a 35%, I'll be floored here. All right, 19%.
But the audience loved it.
Audience
About the
61.
Same. About the same.
That actually is about the same as the first one. See how many of those are
Oh,
gay critics? We don't know. But look at this. Look at these old. Here's suggestions for Rotten Tomatoes when you look up Sister Act 2. It's all these old Disney movies. Mighty Ducks 21%. Come on. Casper 51%. Hocus
Really?
Pocus 38%.
People
People love Hocus Pocus. So
What are the critics
look.
doing right here?
Here's the thing.
They don't like things that people like.
Back in the day, when you only
Look.
had a handful of critics, because it was basically if you had a newspaper, you had a critic,
You know what?
and the TV stations had critics.
Can I just say something?
Yeah, in
Okay.
a second. So TV stations had critics, newspapers had critics.
Everyone has critics.
And everyone was an older man.
Crotchety person out of touch.
So, what about the Mighty Ducks or Sister Act 2 is going to appeal
Yeah.
to a 50-year-old man? Probably not much.
Well,
say.
Casper. Just since I saw that score, it was
Mm-hmm.
such an innovative movie, and I mean, I liked Casper. You watched
Casper-
it not that long ago.
And I watched it for the first time
Casper,
not long ago.
as a newer,
and I hate Bill Pullman, and I enjoyed it.
And Casper's a good movie.
Casper is the first.
Full, like CGI
It's the
heavy.
first movie to have a fully CGI lead character. That's what it is.
And it was
because it came out like 3 months before Toy
and
Story.
the effects still hold up really well.
Actually, they do.
It's a touching story, and Bill Pullman didn't suck in it. So I mean,
now what you have on Rotten Tomatoes is, yes, newspaper critics, but you have a lot of people that have millions of viewers on YouTube, all influencers.
Yes.
And I think that gives us a much bigger, diverse
viewpoints.
Perspective.
Yeah.
Some people of color, some women, some younger people.
Not just one point of view.
Not just one jerk off. All right, so here you go. Chicago Tribune. Why Whoopi took up the habit here is a mystery unless she's tired of this part and wants to make sure there won't be any more sister acts.
Money.
Yeah, it's money, dude.
Mystery. Easy money.
Big mystery, Chicago Tribune. While the kids may sing a storm when at last they get down to mixing Beethoven, gospel and rap in the good clean fun department, this is monumentally weak. Here's a positive. Gave us a beautiful soundtrack with engaging performances and a story that, while generic, is extremely likable and easy to cheer for. Well, yeah, you were cheering for people. You're not
thinking about
F you, Whoopi. Like, no, you're not, but come on.
It is wholesome. Feel good.
Here's a good one. 2.5 stars. This guy's right on the money. The movie was so-so, but I liked the soundtrack. That's Civilian H says that. See, that's what you get now on Rotten Tomatoes. Sister Act 2 wasn't as charming as the first, but if you're bored and have nothing else to do, it'll do fine. I don't know.
I don't know.
I'd rather watch the first one again.
Oh, I did
back to back.
Before we go to Ebert, I do have something to say.
If Ebert likes this more than the first one, I'm going to lose my mind. All right, what would you like to say?
I think that the first one still held up pretty well for me. We liked the second one quite a bit, also because we like to sing it. We like
growing
the story.
up.
But that's one that, as I'm older and looking more at the story, it clearly brought it down a lot more for me.
And it wasn't one I feel like you went back to over and over.
No,
watched it sometimes, but
even
the
as a
first
kid, I
one
was
more.
like, I definitely liked the first one more, but I did not dislike it anywhere near as much as I do now.
Okay, well that's fair.
I just want to point that out.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. All right, so let's see, Mr. Ebert, what do you got here?
4 stars.
2.
Okay, good.
Just a slight decrease, dude. Ebert, come on, give us something here.
He did. He gave us half.
He gave us half a star back. I've seen this formula applied to singing, dancing, basketball, football, bicycle racing, bobsled teams. Oh, yeah.
Cool
runnings. And every single one of the martial arts, I've seen it applied to trigonometry. And Sister Act has studied the same movies. Blah, blah, blah. Okay. Movie stars Whoopi Goldberg again. Well, why wouldn't it? No kidding, Ebert. What a take. Yeah. Here you go. How did she disappear from her high-profile job as a Vegas headliner? Don't even ask.
Well,
the opening sequence was an excuse for a production number. Not a cliche is missed, rather.
It's true. It's every cliche.
So 2 stars for that scathe. Like,
I guess the fact that he likes the cliches. I think,
he maybe okay.
Did he like Stand and Deliver?
Hold on.
Probably. He probably likes Stand
and
Deliver.
Hold on. It was so many opportunities missed. Here's what I want to know. After the original Sister Act broke box office records, the makers of the sequel could have started with what was best about it, the religious humor and the Goldberg edge and singing nuns. I agree. Yeah. Why did they decide to tire that formula? Because they wanted to make it a more youth-oriented movie. So you have to throw kids into it.
It's funny. They didn't want to do the same movie again, but they basically did the same movie again. You were like,
much worse.
How are they going to save the school? Oh, I bet she's going to, use
I bet she's going to do a number.
A chorus to make them sing on a thing.
I think our C pluses are generous.
C minus.
Or C minus, rather. I think our C minuses are generous.
Actually,
I'm fine with it.
I'm kind of tempted to give it a D+.
You're going to D plus it?
I'm so angry.
I know, it's very bad.
Because the villain. Oh man, I want to make this school end so that I can retire. You can retire early anyway.
Should we D plus it? I'm fine with it.
You know what? I'm gonna give it a D plus.
D plus.
I don't like it.
I agree.
I don't like it.
I agree. Well, moments after I said our C minuses were fine, you're right.
Whoopi's the plus.
Yeah, I mean, listen, and where
music,
I wanted more of the old nuns. Like, I don't care about these kids. No offense.
And also, the monks took the place of the nuns.
That's right, and they're not funny.
No.
At all.
They're actually very, very PG.
They're very
physical,
PG, very bland.
Oh, I make sausages. Oh, I'm mousy.
D plus.
I'm D plus.
I think it's correct. All right. That's it now. I'm not going to go further down, but Yeah, it's a bad movie.
It's not, because you said bad. I'm like, bad's not a C-. That's almost
You're right.
average.
You're right.
It's a bad movie.
Yeah, I wouldn't call this a good one. Whoopi, though, great again. So I guess next year, for we might find something from 93 or 88 that Whoopi was in.
Okay.
Or 98. Eventually we'll do The Associate.
We got to do Theodore Rex at some point.
Theodore Rex, I guess, is 0% on Rotten. We know that one. All right. Well, we've reached about the hour mark here. That's usually where we land. Next month, one of your favorite doubles I think we're ever going to do on Dan's Big Movie.
You're probably right.
It's the E.T., The Thing double, the Sci-Fi June 82 Bash.
Yeah.
And we've talked about E.T. a bit. It was in my top 50, so we talked about it on your channel.
We never reviewed it.
But I don't think we've ever reviewed it from Film Fanatics. And The Thing, we talked about on your top 50, but never reviewed that really in a long form. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So that will be that. We put the call out for many December suggestions.
Was the call one of them?
The call with Halle Berry was not one of them. That was missed.
Next year we could do it. 10 year.
I guess so. Jesus. I guess. But I think we did find a winner. We had several suggestions, actually. And I believe, if I'm remembering it correctly, Muppet Christmas Carol is 92.
Okay.
And I believe the pair was Another Anniversary in The Dark Crystal.
Ooh.
I believe.
A Henson double.
A Henson double. This was a suggestion from Nyan, one of my big supporters.
Oh, wow.
And I thought that's interesting, and I think it matches up.
That's good.
And we've not done Henson yet.
Which, you're
which
big
I'm
Henson.
a huge Henson fan.
Biggest.
And never seen Dark Crystal, so.
Well, I'm a Dark Crystal fan.
Yeah, so that should be interesting. So I think we've firmed up the whole year now. I think that was sort of the last one in question.
Did we figure out our animated?
We're gonna do Cool World.
Oh, yeah.
And Beavis and Butthead Do America, our adult animated double. Because Cool World, we wanted to do animated,
but adult.
But I didn't want to do Aladdin. Aladdin's been nothing to talk about. It's been talked to death. So I thought Cool World. I saw it in theaters 30 years ago. Let's revise it.
That sounds cool.
Revisit it.
No pun intended.
No pun intended. It's gonna be cool, and we're gonna do it. Do America.
Be cool.
All right. Anyway, thank you, Joe. As always, another Whoopi in the books. We'll see everybody next time. Bye.
Bye.